Before this episode, I didn't really care about Oboro's character at all. I literally didn't give a shit at all. But now, seeing how Gorilla Sensei wrote his character and the connection he has to his teacher, Utsuro, it makes so much sense now. And I enjoy Oboro's character so much now, thanks to this episode of Gintama. And the fall of Oboro and what happened in the past, we get a lot of clarification. But also, it's a very real conflict that is something that happens constantly in real life. It's normal human nature to do what Oboro did, and I was just completely stunned by it. I mean, Gorilla Sensei has shown time and time again he knows how to handle the very cliche shonen themes and make them work and be very tasteful, but also he's shown to be really good at certain themes and stuff that normally you never see in shonen. And seeing this type of side to Oboro makes me realize that this character, even though I gave no shit about him, like no shits at all, in like last week's episode or previous, I now care about him. I actually like his character, and the sad thing is, he's pretty much dead as fuck now, so it kinda sucks. It really does, especially after finding out why he ended up like he did. So let's dive straight headfirst into that. So, Oboro, at one point in time, his entire family, everybody, got killed off. And Utsuro decided to save Oboro on a whim, and saved him to kind of, let someone live that harbored anger in their heart to go after Utsuro and kill him. That's kind of why he kept, him around. And over time, even though he was able to live and all that, and he was able to leave or do whatever he wanted, he stuck around Utsuro, not because he hated him, because he actually respected him, and Utsuro wouldn't even teach Oboro how to use killing techniques. Like, he wouldn't even teach him how to kill people. He would actually just refrain from doing that and allow Oboro to live a very good life. And over time, thanks to Oboro, Utsuro got kind of convinced he should become a teacher and actually help out new generations of people, kids, and allow them to actually see how the world should be, and which eventually led into, Katsura, Gintoki, Takasugi, and all them being able to actually see their, master and learn from him, and then eventually become what they are in present time of Gintama. But it's thanks to Oboro kind of setting all of this into motion as to why we have our main characters of Gintama, and it really just opened your eyes up to, how much Oboro really put the series on track and made it what it is today. But it's not just that, though. Oboro was the first disciple of Utsuro. He was the first disciple. He was the first person to actually be underneath him and learn from him. It wasn't Gintoki. It wasn't Katsura. It wasn't Takasugi. It was none of them. It was none. None of the children at all were his first disciple from what we saw. It was Oboro. And Oboro, he was a kind and gentle boy from what we saw. He was a good dude. And there was a lot of passion you see that he held towards his master, his teacher. And eventually they had to run away. And because running away, they realized that, they could never truly leave and get away because they would always be on the run. And that would mean that Oboro's master/teacher would never actually be able to do what he wants to do. So Oboro decided to sacrifice his own self and go against his own teacher and what his teacher taught him to actually allow his teacher to have a very happy and fulfilled life. And so he decided to go off, desecrate everything that he stood for in the past and killed a bunch of people just to make sure nothing ever happened to him and nobody ever came after him and ruined what he wanted to do. Now, after a huge amount of time, a lot of time passed, and, eventually Utsuro was able to find disciples like, Gintoki and all of them. Oboro managed to come in contact once again, and he noticed how happy he was, and he was noticing how unhappy he was within himself. And when he saw Utsuro having fun, cherishing the time he got to spend with his students, Oboro was jealous. And that right there is a very realistic conflict because jealousy is the root of a lot of problems in this world. And when Oboro harbored this jealousy inside of him, and why he just went after, his teacher Utsuro, and decided to, throw him under the bus and all that, and cause everything for he could serve, his master that was a reaper, and also just cared little for life at all, it's because he was jealous. And it makes a lot of sense when you think about his life, his upbringing, what he had to do, but also when he saw someone being happy while he was not. It's just a common thing you see in human nature. When someone is happy and you're a jealous person that has nothing at all, or you've given up everything to be able to, help this person out, and you see someone else happy, or that person you're helping out happy, while they have no idea how much suffering you've been in, obviously you're going to be very jealous. You're going to be envious. You're going to want to go after this person, or probably even ruin them in some cases. And so when he harbored those feelings and went after him, it makes sense. It actually legit feels human. It's a very human reaction from Oboro of why he did what he did. It wasn't something to where he just had a tragic backstory and, oh, I'm sad and all that, feel bad for me, feel pity for me, and then, we feel bad for him. It wasn't that type of backstory. What happened to Oboro was tragic. It was sad, and I pity him. However, what he did was something that was just the core concept of humanity and what we do as people when we see someone happy but we're not. And when he was jealous and he went after him, it makes perfect sense. So, Gorilla Sensei, well done on a very realistic characterization and the way you dived into Oboro's character. Even if this is his final moments of the series, since it seems like he's dead, I still appreciate what you did with his character and how you wrapped up his character pretty nicely to show how much of a role he played in Gintama, but also how he fell as a person. And it makes sense now. It makes sense why all of this happened and why he acted like he did. Damn. Very good episode for that. I did not think I would care about Oboro this much. He's not in my top 5, he's not, or even probably my top 10, because there's a lot of good characters in Gintama. However, he is an honorable mention, and he is a very well-written character, and I am just absolutely shocked with how good his character was in this final episode, that final bits of characterization he got. So once again, Gorilla Sensei, good job on the writing of Oboro's character. So, past all of that, one of the things I like about this episode, besides what happened with Oboro, Umibozo has survived his life or death situation, which goes against all known shonen logic when you think about it, because normal shonen dictates that, like, a badass old man slash father figure needs to die. That's shonen logic. That happens in pretty much every shonen, and just seeing how Umibozo was able to live defy the normal shonen cliche, but on top of that be fucking badass and have rocket hands, like these fucking weapon hands. I'm like, yo, that's just badass as fuck. I'm like, damn, like, that is fucking awesome. And so, I just like this episode overall. It had a good mix of comedy and serious moments, and also the Kagura scene as well, when she was coming up and you see this letter to where she is probably gonna, just quit the job of, odd jobs, and they're like, nah, put that letter away, but then Kagura's like, no, I just want a paid leave, and they sling her into the fucking water. They sling her into the fucking water, and Gentoki's like, the only paid leave you get is death. That's a part of odd jobs. I'm like, oh my god. Like, you're having this emotional moment and shit, and then you just throw Kagura into a freaking river and shit. Like, you can die and all that. That's the only paid leave you're getting. Ugh. Classic Gintama. Even with some very tragic and sad episodes, we could still get a good laugh with these characters. Just shows you the quality of Gorilla Sensei and how he really goes so far for his series. So yeah, I mean, episode overall, it was a very simple episode. It got to the point very quickly, and I just love the way the episode was kind of animated, actually. That's something I do want to dive into. The art animation of this episode was beautiful. It was beautiful. But it wasn't just that carried the episode. It also wasn't just the writing that carried the episode. It was actually the voice acting. The sound direction of this episode was way above previous episodes of Gintama. Now, don't get me wrong, the previous episodes of Gintama's voices and, actors and all that, they did a very good job. However, this episode was way beyond anything else, I think, thus far from this season of Gintama. When you see Oboro's childhood, and you see how he talks as a child, how he has all these emotions behind his voice, you can just feel the weight, how the actor is really getting into the role. And so I want to commend the voice actors of this episode of Gintama. There was a lot of effort put in that really needs to be acknowledged, and many people need to realize that it wasn't just the beautiful art and animation, it wasn't just the great writing from Gorilla Sensei, it was also the voice actors and just the sound design in general when it comes to this episode of Gintama. So yeah, that's about it when it comes to this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.